Hello, my name is Frank Christensen and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF Europe. In today's training tape, we're looking at personal fouls, late hit, and the specific type that deals with the sideline, so late hit out of bounds. And we'll look at some plays and see what is enough, what isn't enough, and how do we deal with these situations. But before we get there, let's have a look to see what the rulebook and the MOFO have to say on this topic. In the rulebook, we go to 7917, late hit out of bounds. A, there shall be no piling on, falling on, or throwing the body on an opponent after the ball becomes dead. B, no opponent shall tackle or block the ball carrier or simulated ball carrier when he's clearly out of bounds or throw him to the ground after the ball becomes dead. And C, it is illegal for any player to be clearly out of bounds when he initiates a block against an opponent who is out of bounds. The spot of the foul is the point on the sideline nearest to where the contact occurs. In the MOFO, we go to 3-3 contact fouls. Number 10, late hit. Be more likely to call it the later the hit or the more severe the contact. Slight contact immediately after the ball is dead should not be called. B, any deliberate push against the ball carrier out of bounds is a foul. C, use of the helmet is a foul even if only slightly late. And D says, when a ball carrier is near the sideline, contact that occurs before the ball carrier has a foot down out of bounds is a legal hit. And finally, E says, when a ball carrier is out of bounds but continues running down the sideline inbounds, any subsequent hit is legal provided he has not eased up and the whistle has not blown. And that was the book. Now let's go to the game film. In this first example, what we'll see is obviously a hit out of bounds, which is what we'll see in all of them. But here, the runner goes straight for the sideline and even eases up a little bit, and then clearly out of bounds, B1 decides to knock him down. This is something that we need to call, and you know, it's one thing to run up the sideline. We'll see some examples of that, and then step out of bounds right before the hit. But here, I think it's fairly clear that the runner is going for the sideline, so everybody knows where he's going to go out of bounds, or at least has everybody has a good indication of that. And then when he's hit out of bounds, well, then we're going to be more strict on this. And really, both the wing and the deep wing here would have a chance to see this, or a very good angle to see this. So ideally, it'd be nice to have 2 flags on this. Here's a similar play with a slightly better angle compared to what for example, the deep wing would be looking at. We've got a play going out of bounds, and you know, once the runner takes his cut there, we know where he's going to go out of bounds. He's reaching the ball out, but he's running straight towards the sideline. So any hit, which here happens almost a yard or 2 out of bounds, we're going to be strict on. And this is certainly an unnecessary and a hit out of bounds that we want to avoid. So we get this flag from the wing. We could also have it from the deep wing. There's really nothing else. There are no blocks. There's nothing else for the deep wing to be looking at this point. So we should have 2 sets of eyes on the runner, and both officials have a very good angle at where this happens in relation to the sideline. So 2 flags here would be good. On this next play, we really have several hits, and obviously the last one is the worst one. But again, there's no real mystery as to when or where the runner is going to go out of bounds.
he's pretty much out of bounds now, and here we have a horde of kicking team players, and you know, the first hit there, getting him out of bounds is quite okay, and then right there, clearly out of bounds with several players. So this is certainly well done to catch this, and the wing gets it. We could also have a deep wing looking from upfield to see this. Here's the same kickoff, but from a different angle, so we get a better feel for the sideline and where the hit is compared to the sideline. And we get the first hit there, which is perfectly fine, and then the last hit, which is, you know, pretty much as far out as I think I've ever seen a hit. I mean, this is almost 4 or 5 yards out of bounds before the hit gets there. So I don't know that there's really any reason why the deep wing here wouldn't also have a flag. Certainly is where we would want him or her to cover. So this certainly is illegal. So this is the last play where the contact is enough to draw a flag, or at least should. The last one where there's an actual foul for late hit out of bounds. But we see the similarities. Again, the runner is going straight for the sideline. There's no doubt where she's going to go out of bounds. And here comes the contact, which is a good 2 yards out of bounds after the runner made a straight line for the sideline. So right here she's out of bounds, and the defender is still several yards away, and there's absolutely no doubt that this runner is out of bounds. And then here comes the contact, which is clearly late, and enough force to the contact that this should be called by both the wing and the deep wing. We'll now have a look at some examples where there just isn't enough for a foul, and we'll take a look at why and what the difference is to the previous ones. So here, here the runner is running up the sideline, and then right before the contact, he steps out of bounds, but by then the defender has already committed himself. So there really are two aspects to this. The first one is that he's running north and south, and then he steps out of bounds right before the contact. The other one is that the contact happens right on the sideline. The defender really tries to wrap up, and then he lets go again. And I think when they do that, they demonstrate that they're not trying to punish anybody. They're trying to let up once they get out of bounds. I think they deserve some leeway. And the other part here is this was actually called by the wing right there. But as a deep wing, if you have a good look at this and you don't think this is a foul, are you going to come up and challenge your wing? Are you going to step up and make your opinion heard, so that in the end, at least we have a chance to get it right? Obviously, if the wing sticks to his guns and digs his heels in, then we're going to stick with the foul. But communication here is really important, because as we've already mentioned, we should have two angles at this, or two sets of eyes looking at this. And if you really feel, and in this case you would be correct, that this is not a foul, feel free to challenge your sideline buddy, because at the end of the day, getting it right is our number one priority. A couple of things to note on this play. Again, we've got the runner he's actually here getting tackled inbound. So this is, even though it ends up out of bounds, and it may look bad because they're far out of bounds, when the contact starts inbounds, right there, it is not a late hit out of bounds. One thing of note here is that when they end up out of bounds, it's a good thing to have good out of bounds coverage. I would say though, for this deep wing, good back pedal initially, but right here he starts to move up, and this is just too early. You're setting yourself up for problems, because if the quarterback here cuts inside, he manages to get out of this predicament, then he's running down the field, and you're running the completely wrong way. So this is a little too early to be closing in on the play, even though you end up with good dead ball coverage, as does the wing in this situation. But to repeat, or again here, contact starts inbound, so this is a legal play. A couple of things of interest to note here, but first we have to get this quarterback. He's going to run around for a while, but now he gets to the sideline, and then he gets hit and he gets dragged down, and the wing calls this. A couple of things to note here. First of all, he's running up, and then he steps out of bounds right before the contact, which is, and then we give the defense a little bit of leeway. It's not like we could see from, it's not like he's going a straight line towards the sideline. He's weaving and bobbing and trying to make as much yardage as he can, and then right before the contact, he steps out of bounds. And here it's a pretty good angle that the contact actually happens on the sideline. You can't even tell if his feet are actually on the ground out of bounds before the contact happens. And then the second part is, one thing is the late hit out of bounds, if it actually is out of bounds. The other thing is, even if it starts inbounds, if there's a second act out of bounds like this, then we could talk about a foul. However, this is not a second act out of bounds. This is just a continuation of the tackle. I mean, what is the defender going to do? He can't not fall down here. So this is not a second act. For there to be a second act, then we would want the defender to be standing up here in perfect balance, and then throw the quarterback to the ground. Then we could talk about a late hit out of bounds. But here, there just isn't enough, and this happens, if not inbounds, and certainly close enough to the sideline that this is a legal play. And again, if the deep wing sees this, feel free to take responsibility and come up and challenge the wing on this call. In this final example, we really get a good feeling for what we're looking for, or how we can identify when the play is legal. So he's going out the sideline, and then, initially we had these the runners that are going straight for the sideline, and that typically is a foul. Here he's going north and south, and then right before the hit, he goes out of bounds, or at least tries to go out of bounds, and then he gets hit, and it looks bad. But it's really not an out of bounds hit, so it's not a late hit out of bounds. So once you see that the runner just at the very last second steps out of bounds, then most likely it's not going to be a foul. The last thing on this video is, if you look at the signals from this line of scrimmage official, this wing, it almost looks like an incomplete signal, where we really want the arms to come up higher over the shoulders, so it looks like stopping the clock signal instead of a almost half-hearted incomplete. In comparison, the referee's signals are much higher, where the wing is about face height. The referee has his hands much higher. But again, once the runner just takes that step out of bounds to try to avoid the contact, this is not what we want in a personal foul late hit. And that was the training tape. I hope it made sense, and I hope you found something you can use on the field.